The Hard Facts, viewers, brought to you by CNN News 18 and Federal Bank Prime Time Studio. Viewers, it's been a very, very consequential 48 hours. The Supreme Court 2 days ago, as you know, came out and handed over the probe in the RG Kaur rape and murder to the CBI. Since then, viewers, the Mamata Banerjee Bengal administration has been on tenterhooks. It has been trying to put up a brave face. Its extremely rambunctious, truculent, combative spokespeople have been on this show accusing me and the CNN News 18 reporting team of bias, of fiddling with the facts, of carrying on a propaganda, of being selective. You know that, viewers. And sometimes one has also lost their patience. But viewers, today, the hard facts don't need to present anything to you from research. Today, the hard facts, viewers, and I will call them the hard facts because they have been put out in the public domain by the Supreme Court of India after perusing the submissions of the CBI and also of the councils representing both the state administration of Bengal, i.e. the Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee, and the centre, the Government of India, viewers. A whole battery of lawyers was deployed, running almost into 20 in number, by the state administration to ensure that the Supreme Court's censorious eye did not singe Mamata Banerjee or her administration. But viewers, they might have blown up crores, I don't know, of public money in defending their reputations. But let me tell you, viewers, that today, as of today, there's just nowhere Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee's administration can hide. The truth will chase it, viewers. It will chase it like that police person who we showed you was running for his life from. You remember those visuals? Viewers, the Mamata administration has no one to hide, not after the Supreme Court has acknowledged the CBI's contentions in connection with the Kolkata Police's heartless stab at botching up the probe into the barbaric rape and murder of Kolkata's Nirbhaya. The Supreme Court's conclusions have punctured massive holes in Mamata Banerjee's defense of her administration's record of probing the gruesome crime. Remember, viewers, in those pictures on the right, she took to the streets as if she herself was the victim. The audacity, viewers. The audacity. She took to the streets and she claimed that Ram and Bam, i.e. the BJP, the communal BJP hiding behind Ram and religiosity, and the communists, they were conspiring to create mayhem on the streets and turn this entire case into more than what it was. Well, viewers, she might have a view in the court of public opinion, but that view, that defense did not go very far in the courts, viewers, where the law, which is blind, examines with absolute fidelity, viewers, to bipartisanship, objectivity. The top court has established that far from being a protector of women, the Bengal state government has colluded with their depraved prosecutors and persecutors. If the Chief Minister had any claim to justice, she would have by now not only sacked the police chief, but also the Women's Rights Minister in her cabinet. But because she hasn't, the Chief Minister, many are now saying, has lost the right to govern herself. She must quit. That is the word, viewers, on the street, where she is no longer seen as a victim, but as viewers, the aggressor. And all of this because of what the Supreme Court has said. I have been quite critical of the Supreme Court, viewers, in the past, especially in this case where I have said that it was late to turn its attention to this very, very dastardly crime. But it is making up for it, viewers. It is making up for it. The Supreme Court has said that the autopsy was conducted on evening hours, which is 6 p.m. of the 9th, and the GD entry of unnatural death, UD, was recorded at 11:30 p.m. at night. The Supreme Court says this is very surprising. Post-mortem cannot precede the registration of an unnatural death case. Think about it, viewers. If it's not an unnatural death, why is a post-mortem being conducted? The entire procedure, says the Supreme Court, followed by your state government, which is a direct reference to Mamab banerji, is something which the judge says I have not come across in 30 years of my career. 30 years, viewers. Justice Pardiwala's words. Viewers, Justice Pardiwala's words tonight. I am relating those to you. The Supreme Court went on to say that the first thing, is it true that UD was recorded at 10:30 hours? Second, who is the assistant superintendent non-medical? Her conduct is also very doubtful. Why did she act in this manner? Unquote, viewers. The Supreme Court then went on to say the entry in the police diary is at 5:20 a.m. The police received information from the hospital that the woman was lying semi-naked at 10:10 a.m. The medical board gave the opinion that the rape took place, and the entry in the police diary GD shows that the area of the incident was cordoned off after the post-mortem. After the post-mortem report and inquest, the body is handed over to the mother. After return to the police station, a UD case is registered. All police superiors were informed. It appears that initial UD report was registered at 10:10 a.m. After they received, they returned to the police station at night. FIR was recorded 11:30 p.m. at night. Viewers, think about it. An unnatural death is registered at 10:10, and 12 hours, more than 12 hours later, an FIR is registered. The delay, viewers, the delay. Why the delay, asked the Supreme Court. If all the police officers knew that there was a dastardly crime committed in the KG Kaur hospital, how is it that the police itself took 12 and more hours to file an FIR, viewers? This is exactly what we have been saying for the last few days. And the TMC spokespeople and all those crusaders for women's rights have been abusing the media, blacklisting journalists, viewers. The Supreme Court says, and I quote, if the police say UD 861 was recorded at night, how does the request report refer to the UD earlier than that? Supreme Court then says it appears that at the time of the post-mortem report conducted, UD 861 was already done. Why did the IO then say, after I reached the police station at night, I recorded all this? Viewers, the timeline itself is bizarre. As Justice Pardiwala said, something that he has not seen for 30 years in his career. The Supreme Court then asked, what is the reason for the 14-hour delay in filing the FIR? The Supreme Court asked, the college principal should have come himself to file the FIR. Viewers, but guess what happens? The college principal today has been rewarded with an OSD position. Can you believe it? On the day the Supreme Court is doubting the motives of the ex-principal RG Kaur Hospital, he is being rewarded. Remember, when he first quit, within 4 hours he was reinstated as principal of another college. Public outcry, that decision is revoked. And today, viewers, he's given a massive government job. The Supreme Court says, is this man trying to save someone? Does he know something? And that is why he is not dispensable. He can't be punished because he might squeal. The Supreme Court said he resigned and was given another college. How come? The CBI has also made revelations. It says, quote, as we entered the 5th day of the investigation, everything was altered, including the crime scene. The most shocking fact is that the first FIR was registered at 11:45 p.m. after the cremation. The parents were told it was a suicide. Then death, and then friends of the doctor at the hospital insisted on videography. They also suspected something was amiss. The ultimate betrayal, viewers. Let's put all this together and give you a sense of why many people are calling this the ultimate betrayal. Viewers, first things first, the RG Kaur ex-principal under the scanner for a cover-up. Supreme Court scanner. Supreme Court is asking him questions, but this man, on that very day that the Supreme Court is asking him questions and Mamata Banerjee questions, gets rewarded with OSD status in the Swasthya Bhavan, viewers. The brazenness of it all. The post-mortem is conducted before the filing of the unnatural death, viewers. It is unheard of. As Justice Pardiwala says, in 30 years of his career, he has never come across something like this. RG Kaur ex-principal did not make any effort to file an FIR. Why, viewers? Why was he so desperate to cover up this crime? What was he scared would get exposed? These are fundamental questions. The FIR filed by the police after suspicious 14-hour delay. Isn't this a betrayal? FIR was registered at 11:45 p.m. after the cremation. The crime scene was not secured for many hours after the rape and murder. I'm not saying it, the Supreme Court is saying it, viewers. This is a thorough indictment of the Mamata Banerjee government. But despite that, viewers, her spokespeople are coming out and selectively cherry-picking things from the Supreme Court observations and order, trying to give themselves a fig leaf to crawl under. Disgusting, viewers. Let's open this up. Let's open this up, viewers. There are a lot of questions to be asked. Shabnam Dey, political analyst, is here with us. Jayanant Dehadra is also here with us. He's an advocate. Now, Jayanant Dehadra, I want to begin with you first. I don't want to make this political first. And you know that I don't like to go down that little alleyway, that dark alleyway of political recriminations. So I want you to set the store tonight by putting into context what the Supreme Court has said and where does this fit in with regards to Mamata Banerjee's own culpability. I'm not saying personal. I hope not personal, viewers. I don't know. I don't have that information. The CBI knows whether it's personal, but certainly our administration's culpability. Can you put that context out for our viewers tonight?
Rahul, good evening, and also good evening to your other panelists. I share your anguish, and I could sense your anguish when you were laying out the facts before, inviting me to speak. And I think it's absolutely clear, it's crystal clear, especially after the probing questions that the Supreme Court has asked of the government of West Bengal today, that there was a well-coordinated effort to try and either cover up the whole thing or to perhaps create enough time to destroy evidence and certainly perhaps to protect some people. This is the sense one is getting. This is the subtext of it all. That was this entire effort undertaken to botch up, to somehow or the other, hide something very dastardly that had taken place. This is the sense that one is getting. That is one aspect. And the second, I think very important that you pointed out. In fact, I asked myself, was it really even a 14-hour delay? Because if the crime had happened sometime in the middle of the night on the 9th, then could it be possible that in fact not 14 but 20 hours had elapsed by the time the FIR came to be registered? That's another question, that why this massive delay? And second, if there was also a massive delay, Rahul, in terms of conducting the autopsy and the post-mortem, and if rigor mortis had set in by then would it be possible that the biological evidence available, the forensic evidence available on the victim's body, could it have also disintegrated by then? That's the second aspect. And third, we have to ask ourselves another very important but uncomfortable question. Could it be that the only people who had access to the crime scene, which was the police and the college, let's analyze their conduct for a moment. You have the principal here who doesn't turn up at the scene. You have some hospital administrators who call up the parents and tell them first that your daughter is ill. They follow it up with another very mysterious phone call and say that actually she's committed suicide. And then once they reach the scene of the crime, they don't let her see the body. Because perhaps if they had seen the body, it would have become crystal clear to them that their poor daughter had been assaulted in the worst, most brutal way imaginable. So my question is this, that you're absolutely right, Rahul. This is not a time to politicize it, but I have a question. And as a citizen, I'm deeply concerned and also anguished that as a lady chief minister, is it not the responsibility of Mamata Banerjee as the home minister, chief minister and health minister to have put her foot down and said that, you know what, enough is enough. Let's have a proper investigation. Let's find out what went wrong and let's fix this. Except her entire machinery, and these are departments that she directly controls, are seemingly complicit in either destroying the scene of the crime by having it demolished. I mean, it's shocking to see. I mean, those visuals came out. It's difficult to imagine why anybody would send in people to demolish the scene of the crime, A, and B, you have this mysteriously large mob coming in that completely devastates the crime scene, beats up doctors, and perhaps sends out a message to those protesting that you better not raise your voice. Otherwise, we'll shut you down one way or the other. So I have one last question to ask. That in a situation like this, Rahul, what is the lesser of two evils for a person that is trying to hide something? Is it better to earn the ire of the public in a situation like this by coming off as someone who's destroying evidence and one is willing to earn that ire? Or did they run a higher risk of something more sinister and dastardly coming out? And thus they weighed the consequences of both of those things and determined that perhaps it is safer to earn the ire of the people and to seem as though we are not doing enough. This is the question that is on my mind, top of my mind, Rahul.
Well, Mr. Dayadrai, I think you've summed it up very well. Now, I fear for you actually, because you're sitting in Kolkata and there are henchmen of Mamata Banerjee who've said that anyone raising their finger to ask us a question will cut that finger off. You know what has been said. And it was also echoed in the Supreme Court today. So I do fear for your safety. Please do take care of yourself. But I have to ask you this fundamental question. Now, you have talked about the possible larger consequentialities here, which could involve a bigger cover-up of something even more grave, which involves many more established people. And we're not talking about the crime that was committed on the person of the junior doctor, but the larger talk that this particular hospital had become a den of corruption. And there were many top figures who could have been linked because the impunity with which this gentleman was running affairs and was being protected by the administration, even though a CNAG report, even though a whistleblower had come out and made damning accusations, all of that. Now, do you believe that the reason why this person is being cosseted by the state as we speak, given an OSD-ship, for example, is because there is something graver at play?
Rahul, 100%. This is my personal sense. 110%. Why else would you first appoint this person immediately after this dastardly crime takes place on his watch, where he can't even protect his own students that are directly his responsibility? The man doesn't even have the decency to show up at the hospital in the morning or to call up the police himself or to meet the parents of that poor child. He doesn't show up at all is what emerged today in the Honorable Supreme Court. This is one aspect. At first, you don't create a safe space for your students to study and for them to work. The other aspect is that the state seems to be playing, a direct role in somehow protecting these people. And as you rightly pointed out, he wasn't merely just given a promotion. He was given a massive promotion. He was appointed principal of the National Medical College. And today, as you rightly pointed out, while being chastised in the Supreme Court this afternoon, the government, and this is the health ministry is directly under the control of the chief minister.
Yeah.
They appoint him OSD in Swasthya Bhavan. I mean, this is beyond bizarre. So what you said earlier, Rahul, I think that is you hit the nail on the head. I think he knows something. They want to send him a message, send out a message to him perhaps that, look, we've got your back. Please don't open your mouth. Don't let all the other secrets about this horrendous place, which they call a hospital, come out. And I've read some newspaper articles that date back to over a decade, which say things about dead bodies being traded, some organ trade going on there, students, money being taken from students to pass them in their exams, all kinds of procurement scams. I mean, this sounds like it's a mafiosi regime that is running this state. And for us to imagine that the chief minister herself controls these two departments, health and home.
Yeah.
I mean, I think she should resign. I mean, that's the bare. She should apologize to the parents, to the people of Bengal for not being able to do a proper job. And then she should hang up her boots, I think. I think that's what she ought to do.
Okay, Sabnam De, let me bring you in because you represent the TMC, or at least have empathized with it. And I have to ask you these questions. And I have the moral authority to ask you these questions tonight because I have called out the favors shown to Ram Rahim. Let me tell you, the favor shown to Ram Rahim, a convicted rapist by the Haryana government, and we all know, viewers, that that is a BJP government. I've also, on this show, called out the delay in filing FIRs and taking the right steps in Badlapur, which is in Maharashtra, again, under a coalition, BJP coalition government there. So I have not, viewers, cherry-picked like some of the great feminist revolutionaries in the TMC. And I have to ask you, Ms. De, tonight, and you must be honest, put your hand on your heart. You must be someone's sister, someone's mother, someone's daughter. You might have your own daughter. Tell me, why is an ex-principal who is today being indicted by the Supreme Court being given so many favors? Why has he become the OSD in a very, very important role, in a very important division, department of the government? What is it that he knows that is so inconvenient that he needs to be kept happy, Ms. De? And do you believe that this is right?
Good evening, Rahul, and good evening to other panelists. Thanks for inviting me.
You're welcome.
To share with you the statements right now made by my learned fellow friend and Rahul, that regarding the promotions or transfer or whatever it's going on, that is by Shastra Bhavan. It is the department who is accountable and responsible for all these transfers. But I am also mother of my daughter. I am also an advocate, an activist.
Yes.
Female activist. The thing is that what is CBI doing?
No, ma'am, no, one second.
Since
Just,
handing over.
The CBI has tabled, one second. Miss De, one second. First, you answer my question. We'll go into the CBI. I have no problems going into the CBI. You answer my question. It's a very pointed question. I didn't talk about the CBI. I talked about what the Supreme Court has said, right? In connection with this ex-principal. He gets promoted by Mamata Banerjee. He is now an OSD, officer on special duty. That's a fact. You cannot deny this fact. I'm asking you, is it right to promote an individual under whose watch a dastardly crime happens, who himself tried to hush up this entire matter. I'm not saying it. The Supreme Court has implied this, ma'am, and you know, you're a lawyer. So I'm asking you, is it right to have A, promoted him, and B, if someone is doing so, are they colluding in denying justice to Nirbhaya? Simple two questions, ma'am. I'm not asking you to tax your mind on anything more.
Rahul, what is being done? Why Shastra Bhavan has transferred him to this, promoted to OSD post? It is under the monitoring of the apex court, Honorable Supreme Court.
Is it right, ma'am?
And if Supreme
Is it
Court-
right? Is it right or is it wrong? I'm asking you. Is it right? Your daughter, I don't know, she might be going to a school. If in that school a crime is committed against a woman or against a student, do you think the principal, if he acts in a manner which is not becoming, do you think that principal should be promoted? I'm asking you a question. Parent to parent. I also have a daughter.
It is now under monitoring of the apex court, and if the apex court find in its observation,
we cannot you see, there has to be a baseline of decency and morality. Viewers, if people are not willing to share in a universal morality, it becomes very difficult to even begin a conversation. If someone says, no, Supreme Court, it has to do what it has to do, this, that, the other. Here is an issue, viewers, where a person who has voluntarily chosen to lie, or his department has lied to the parents, trying to pass off a horrible rape and murder as, viewers, a suicide. That person is being promoted and we cannot bring ourselves to condemn it. Has humanity died, flickered 1,000 deaths, the flame of humanity in us? Yes. Yes,
Rahul, this statement by Ms. Day, if she's associated with the TMC, it boggles the mind. This is an absolutely false statement because she said that the Supreme Court is monitoring this issue, including the transfers of this person. This borders on
not
contempt.
Including the transfer.
The Supreme Court is not monitoring this, looking at administrative transfer.
Supreme
She
Court
should
is
explain
why.
should explain why the head of the health ministry, which is her chief minister, has decided to reward this man for allowing such a dastardly rape to take place, firstly, on his watch, and number two, why this person allowed a cleanup and a botch-up of this entire incident. And for her to have the temerity to say that the Supreme Court is monitoring this, it's disgusting.
I'll bring the BJP
Supreme
spokesperson.
Court is not monitoring, it is the monitoring, Rahul,
Yeah.
that the whole case has been taken suo motu by the Honorable Supreme Court, and if Supreme Court finds polygraphy has been started by CBI by taking them 4 doctors along with to Shialda Court.
Ma'am, there is no excuse for defending the indefensible. Please, unless morality has died within you, I am sorry. I cannot stand here and even begin to countenance how you can bring yourself to try and soft pedal this issue. I mean, what is going on, viewers, in the state of Bengal? Are there guns put to everyone's temple that they can't bring themselves to even answer to their conscience anymore? Something is very
not
black.
at all. No guns, no Taliban, nothing.
Hang
it's
on.
a peaceful state which has been hijacked by BJP
peaceful
and
state? Okay, hang on.
and
BJP is hijacking, the Supreme Court has also been hijacked tonight. Viewers, just listen to this. The extent, this is no longer arrogance or power, viewers. Don't think this is arrogance or power. This is the arrogance of impunity. And I want to bring in the Congress. You see, you say, the Congress party says, your leader says, Mr. Nikul Patel, and Radhika Khera is also here with us, that he believes in doing the right thing. He positions himself on a moral plane, much higher than the rest of us. Apart from his 2 tweets, sir, he's not asked tonight, even today, for the resignation of Mamata Banerjee. Mr. Nikul Patel, why?
See, I don't understand, Rahul, that you are sticking to only one question, that why Rahul Gandhi is not asking the resignation of Mamata Banerjee.
Let me ask you another question, sir. Let me ask you another question. Forget
Today
it.
we are discussing the Supreme Court. Rahul, we are discussing Supreme Court.
No,
I
I take
think
it back.
we are
Sir,
discussing
I beg you, I
Supreme
take
Court.
it back. I take the question
Supreme
back.
Court had-
No, I
Yeah, very
surrender.
good. Thank you,
I
thank you
surrender
very
to
much.
your
Thank you
wisdom.
very
But let
much.
me ask you, Mr. Nikul Patel. Let me
Yeah,
ask
you ask another
Let me
question.
ask
Yeah.
you, sir.
Yeah.
Ask another question, he says.
No, you are telling
You
that
didn't get the
I have-
sarcasm. Anyhow, I'll withdraw
No,
my
I'm not
question.
sarcasm.
I'll withdraw
We
my
are with
question.
the victim of the
Rahul
family.
Gandhi must
Rahul Gandhi
support
rightly
Mamata
said
Banerjee
that-
because there is a compulsion. I understand that. I think all our viewers understand that. That's fine. Chalo.
We have already
So
see,
I want to
you can
ask you
see
then.
the Rahul
I want to
Gandhi
ask you the
press
second
conference
question then.
statement
I
that
want to ask you the
they
second
are with
question
the
then.
victim.
I want to ask
They
you
are
the
with
second
the-
question. Okay. You
you
won't allow me to ask you the second question.
Then you ask first.
Does Rahul Gandhi believe, does the Congress party believe that a person who has been censured, almost indicted by the Supreme Court, should that person be given a promotion? Simple question, sir.
No.
It doesn't believe that.
He must not be promoted. He must be sacked.
Okay.
He must
So
be
where
put in
is
behind
where
the
is
bars,
where is the
definitely.
Congress
And
party?
Rahul Gandhi rightly
Okay,
said-
one
You-
second.
Rahul,
Where
let
is
me
the
speak.
Congress
You
party's
always
response?
try to interfere. You just want to put your words, and then if I am not speaking the right thing, you just put things.
Now you're
another
playing
thing.
victim.
You like me, right?
Sir,
Explain
I
me.
have
would
withdrawn
like
my
to explain.
question. I should
want
be
to
playing
put my
victim,
stand.
not you. Two
If
people
you
can't
feel
compete
that
to
I
be
don't
playing
want to put
victim
my
here
stand,
on
if
this
you
show.
want to speak,
I
then
am
you
the
speak.
victim. I am the victim, sir, of your ability to smack me
I
down.
think that Rahul,
I'm asking you a
really
simple
want to
question.
put
You
your
believe that
own
it is
words,
wrong.
your anchor.
Why
I
hasn't
respect
Rahul
your
Gandhi
anchor,
come out in the
I
public
respect that
domain?
you are
Why
with
hasn't
the
Priyanka Gandhi
victim
Vadra come out
family.
in the public domain and said it is wrong?
Rahul Gandhi said that it is wrong and the culprit should be punished. You can refer the
Right.
document as well as the news article in every newspaper that was
Okay.
there. I
So
think
now,
you have
viewers,
not come
that
with your
culprit is
homework
not
and you
punished.
just
He has
want
been
to
promoted.
Push the word that
This was 3
Rahul
days
Gandhi
ago.
and Congress is
Okay.
not with
Okay.
the victim.
Okay.
This is
Okay.
really,
Viewers,
really
let me bring in the
saddened
Congress
on your
here.
part.
Let me bring in.
Either
No, hang on. Let me bring in the Congress.
Just want to prove that
Let me
Congress
bring
is
in the
not
Congress.
with the family
Leader
of the
of
victim.
opposition's
I
last
don't
statement
understand
to
your
your record.
stand. I don't understand your stand,
Sir,
Rahul.
don't shout at me. You can shout over
I'm
me.
not shouting.
You
You
can
are
drown
just-
me out. You
you are
can
not
muzzle me.
allowing
You
me
can
to
sue
speak.
me.
If you don't
But
allow me
I
to
will
speak,
not
then don't
stop
kindly call
asking
us.
the pertinent questions.
call
Viewers,
us, please.
They don't want to. They don't want to respond to the fundamental question, which is a very straight one. Should Mamata Banerjee resign? Why isn't the Congress asking for his resign? He says, why are you hung up on this question? So fine, I jettison that question. Then I ask him, do you think it's right? He says no. So ask a follow-up question. If he believes it's no, why is it that the leader of the opposition, why is it that Priyanka Gandhi Vadra, who talked about ladki hu and lad sakti hu, why haven't they counseled Mamata Banerjee in public to say you should not be doing this? Why?
Now I
Let me
can
bring
speak,
in-
Rahul. If you allow me to speak,
Tell
I will
me,
speak.
Tell me.
But I will request that you don't speak in between and don't interrupt with your own another question in between. You are anchor. I respect your feelings.
Go ahead,
And I
go ahead,
respect
sir.
that you are with this
Go
particular
ahead,
case
tell
and you
me.
are taking this point of
Tell me.
national importance.
Tell me.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank
Tell
you.
me.
Thank you very much.
Tell me.
Rahul Gandhi, as a leader of opposition, had taken the words on the first day itself. You can refer to the press. And he said that definitely the people who are culprit must not be spared. And he had tell that those people, those who are victim, we are with them. And definitely we should make them give justice. Today, Supreme Court had observed what was lapses in the investigation, and that has to be taken care by the local government. And that is really you are telling very correct that must not happen.
Thank you.
We are with you and the entire country and the victims.
Okay. Now,
don't
viewers,
try to
you
prove
heard
that Congress is not correct.
You
I
heard
really
Mr.
request
Patel.
you,
Viewers,
Rahul.
these are not my words. You heard Mr. Patel say that Rahul Gandhi on the very first day came out and said so. No, viewers, Rahul Gandhi didn't speak about this till the CBI, till the High Court brought in the CBI 5 or 6 days after the rape. That was his first comment. Am I lying, viewers? Please check it up. You can go to Twitter, go on Rahul Gandhi's timeline, see when he tweeted.
So Rahul, I have said that only you want to prove that Rahul Gandhi had not
second.
a single statement
BJP
against the
spokesperson
government.
wants to come
That
in.
is
Ms.
what you
Kira.
are trying to establish and prove. I would
After
like to
that,
tell your viewers.
okay,
Thank you, Rahul.
sir,
You can
this
go
was,
and see.
this was, can I tell you,
You
sir,
want to,
with all
you
respect,
want to give the wrong
sir, I beg
message
you,
to the
this
people
was
of the
last
country.
week.
That is why I want to
This
correct
comment,
you also.
this comment by him was last week, viewers, last week. Since then, a lot of water has flown down the Hooghly. No response except for another one just a few days back, viewers, when I was actually asking that question of Mr. Patel, another anodyne statement where he said crimes are happening in 3 other BJP-ruled states also, he bracketed them. He drew
I
in
don't
an
say that.
equivalence.
You
He
are
did
putting
not-
these on your words. I have not said that.
I'm not saying that you
This is
said
not
it.
a way to politicize the
I'm
event.
not saying you
speaking
said it.
about
I'm
BJP.
saying Rahul Gandhi said it.
I'm not speaking of BJP. You said Mr. Patel said it. You just
I didn't say Mr. Patel. I said Rahul Gandhi. Please get your facts right, sir. I talked about his tweet. Okay, you don't tweet. I don't know if you do. I don't look at your timeline, sir. Sorry, pardon me for that. I'm sorry, I didn't look at your...
Patel said that. You didn't say
I
that.
didn't say
Rahul
Mr.
Gandhi
Patel.
said it.
I didn't say Mr. Patel. I said Mr. Patel
You
was
said
there
Patel,
on that day.
What is this?
I said Mr. Patel was there on that day when Rahul Gandhi tweeted, and I was asking him. समझिए sir, थोड़ा बहुत. Anyhow, Ms. Khera, how do you react to the developments, and what is the logical conclusion that you're going to take this to? There is pressure on the CBI also.
You know, what we've been seeing, it's just not a matter of this man being named in OSD. This is a long line of events that have taken place. If you see, he was number 16 in the list of promotees. But he suddenly jumps to number 1 when 4 college principals have to be appointed. And suddenly from 16th, he's in the top 4. He's appointed principal of this college. Then due to some financial things that came out and it showed that he had...
We all know the timeline. Ms. Khera, I'm asking you,
But it's
where
very
is the
important.
BJP going to take this?
The BJP is going to, the government is going to ensure that justice is served. That is where everybody is going to take this. Why only the BJP? That this is something that Mamata Banerjee should also ensure. And we need to find out why this man is being protected. And you have the entire opposition screaming Badlapur, Badlapur, but in a collaborated effort, they are trying to save Mamata Banerjee and this person. It is clear that there is something of the Mamata Banerjee government that this man has, which is why from the beginning till today, he is being protected. He can get away with getting another principal transferred in 48 hours. He can get away without even going and meeting the students when they go on hunger strike. He can get away with everything. And when such serious allegations, that despite the court saying in clear words that how can you transfer a principal who is under investigation to another college, today we see him being appointed the OSD. It's horrific what is happening and a sad situation for every woman in this country. It is not just remain only for West Bengal. It is for every woman, because when people like him are protected, other people in other states, other parts of the country get that वो कहते हैं ना हिम्मत मिलती है उनको.
Can you imagine,
To
viewers?
go on and they know it.
Can you
that they will
imagine?
be protected by somewhere.
Can you imagine had this
And
happened in a
it is
BJP
our
state?
families.
No, hang on. And it did. And it did when it came to an individual who was a member of parliament from Uttar Pradesh till before this election. There was mass protests across the country by the opposition. Today, viewers, the cohorts of Mamata Banerjee in the India alliance are silent. Politics matters. Politics matters, viewers. Politics matters more than dignity. I want to move on, viewers. There is a lot of other stuff happening also. As the Prime Minister is going to be making his way now to Ukraine in a special train, a bulletproof train, I want us to rewind to July 8th on that bright blue sky day in Moscow. And you can see those pictures in the center of your screen. Prime Minister Modi landed to meet with Russian President Putin. Within minutes, photos of President Putin enveloping his, quote, dearest friend, unquote, Prime Minister Modi went viral. The optics couldn't have been more jarring. Barely hours earlier, a Russian bombing raid had killed at least 41 people in Ukraine, including at a children's hospital in capital Kyiv. The West was outraged at this, quote, depraved war crime, unquote. President Putin may have been, quote, delighted to see, unquote, Prime Minister Modi, but leaders of the West from Warsaw to Washington were seeing red. The US expressed concern and urged Prime Minister Modi to emphasize Ukraine's territorial integrity during his talks in Moscow with Putin. The Biden regime's envoy to Delhi even warning India that it should take, quote, its friends for granted, unquote. Embattled Ukraine's beleaguered President Volodymyr Zelensky was positively apoplectic and spat out his disapproval on X, describing the meeting as, quote, a huge disappointment and a devastating blow to peace efforts to see the leader of the world's largest democracy hug the world's most bloody criminal in Moscow on such a day, unquote. Now, barely 6 weeks after his very public moral excoriation of Prime Minister Modi, Ukraine's conscientious chief executive officer is rolling out the red carpet to welcome the leader of the world's largest democracy. Zelensky's change of heart is a stunning example of moral elasticity, but instead of being shamed for his opportunism, the Ukrainian president must be admired for remembering that in the shape-shifting landscape of global diplomacy, there are no permanent friends, only permanent interests. President Zelensky knows the value of Prime Minister Modi's considerable utility as a bridge to President Putin. Now, viewers, if Zelensky doesn't mind who Prime Minister Modi supped with before him, then why should his other Western cohorts have a problem? Why must they urge India to pick a side? Why must they morally blackmail New Delhi into believing that it is under an obligation to, quote, get off the fence, unquote, and condemn Russia's invasion of Ukraine? When did the West intercede on India's behalf? And beyond India, when did the West show moral resoluteness to resolve conflicts in the global South? Viewers, I ask you that question. China's expansionism in its sphere of influence is at par with Russia's neo-imperial acquisitiveness in Eastern Europe. China has routinely trespassed in both the subcontinent and South China Sea. Yet its flagrant violations of international law, both on land and at sea, have never moved the West to impose crippling economic sanctions. Why, one wonders, viewers? Why, one wonders? Let's ask this question. Let's ask this question of some of our experts tonight who join us in the backdrop of this impending meeting. And I want to begin first with Brahma Chileni. Mr. Chileni, we have been given earfuls by the West on not siding with the West in criticizing Putin. I have given you examples of when the West has gone MIA, missing in action, so to speak, not standing by the global South. Should we be today dancing to the Western tune? Should we be morally obligated to burn our bridges with Putin in our pursuit of some sort of, I don't know what, interest with Mr. Zelensky? Simple question to you.
Rahul, just take a couple of concrete examples. India has been locked in a military standoff with China for more than 4 years. War clouds have appeared over the Himalayas. Has the US taken sides in that border conflict? Biden hasn't even uttered a single word on this confrontation. Or take Pakistan's cross-border terrorism, which is an issue not just for India, but for its other neighbors, including Uzbekistan and Iran. Is the US taking sides there? Or actually playing both sides? The thing is this, the US values its strategic autonomy. Even in India's neighborhood, it pursues policies that are contrary to India's vital interests. Take Myanmar, take Bangladesh. American policies are antithetical to India's core interests. And yet, it tried to bully India in 2022 to take sides in the Ukraine conflict. India has no dog in that fight. And India correctly took an independent, neutral stance. And it's not just India. Every non-Western democracy, name any non-Western democracy, every non-Western democracy has taken a neutral stance in the Ukraine conflict. So India is not the loner. India is very much the voice of the global South.
Let me bring in Peter Kosnik, who's a history professor. Mr. Kosnik, there is this expectation in the West, in capitals between Warsaw, Brussels, and Washington, that India must today, when decide which side of the fence it must stand on. Is this unrealistic? Duplicitous?
It's unrealistic. It's not going to happen. The West is going to be disappointed. India is not going to play that game. India has tried to remain neutral. India sees that this invasion was not justified, but it also sees that it was highly provoked by the West, by NATO expansion, by NATO policy. And so Modi has not taken sides, and the West has criticized him for that. But they're especially sensitive about the fact that he visited Moscow last month while the NATO summit was taking place in Washington, D.C. That was especially irksome to the West. And so now, and he was criticized heavily by Zelensky for embracing Putin while this was going on. So now he's trying to make amends, but he is not going to play the U.S. game. As our previous speaker said, the global South as a whole is refusing to play this. And that's partly because they have to understand the history of colonialism. They understand the history of imperialism. They understand the attempt to establish hegemony by the United States. And so they are playing, he's taking a very, very different position. And I think he's going to stick to that.
Okay, that's an important point. You're almost suggesting that Modi is doing a balancing act for the optics, so wrong optics, when he landed up meeting Putin, when there was an important meeting going on amongst the allies who were depending on, or sort of trying to survive Ukraine. Ramachani, is it a balancing act? See, I don't see it as a balancing act, quite frankly, but do you?
Well, India is always trying to play the role of a balancer between rival blocs. But here, I think it's very important to remember that he met with Zelensky. They bear hugged each other. They held formal bilateral talks just 2 months ago on the sidelines of the G7 summit in Italy. Now that the West has forgotten, that before he bear hugged Putin in Moscow, he bear hugged Zelensky. And in that 2-month period, since then, what has changed? Have gone from being bleak to becoming almost zero now. Ukraine's incursion to Russian territory, attack aimed at Moscow, have killed any prospect for a ceasefire. The issue, though, is, given the fact that the prospects for a ceasefire are almost zero, why did Modi choose to go to Kyiv? He could have waited until there was an opportunity for India to play a meaningful role as a go-between Moscow and Washington, or even be a mediator. But right now, given the fact that the US is now in the midst of a presidential election, and only that election will clarify American policy, would have been better had he gone later in November or December to Kyiv, because you don't make a prime ministerial trip to a country without seeking to achieve something substantive. At this time, being it's what Modi will bring back home, or how he could ease the conflict in Ukraine.
Well, let me tell you, viewers, that Prime Minister Modi used a couple of phrases even when he was conversing with Mr. Putin. He said, "This is not an era of war, but it's a time of dialogue and diplomacy," unquote. If anything, it is the West that is obliged to heed his wise counsel and end a war that it has self-indulgently foisted upon the rest of humanity. Would you agree with me, Professor Kosnik?
Yes, I agree with you. I agree with Prime Minister Modi. This is not, in the nuclear age, war really cannot be tolerated. We see the threats now going on to the Zaporizhia and the Kursk nuclear facilities.
It's true.
We see the possibility, the threats of nuclear retaliation. Zelensky says, "Give me permission to use all the weapons you've given me to attack anywhere inside Russia that I feel necessary." And we know that. He also says don't worry about Russia's red lines. Well, many of us in the West are very worried about Russia's red lines, about the possible use of nuclear weapons in this war. And that's a possibility that exists in all wars between nuclear powers or proxy wars involving nuclear powers.
Yeah.
And so Ukraine's aggressive approach, their invasion of Kursk, and targeting of some of Russia's early advanced warning satellite systems, their nuclear warning systems, has really sent shivers down our spines.
So viewers...
So we need diplomacy. We absolutely need diplomacy. Diplomacy has become...
Maybe Mr. Modi is the man. Now, we'll have to wait till tomorrow to find out what the outcomes are. Tomorrow at this very time, we'll have Brahma Chileni back. We'll have other experts back to analyze what really went on. But viewers, you must ask yourself, the West is lecturing India, but who, viewers, is tempting fate by basically saber-rattling and calling for a war to the finish? That's the question. And should we be going in there and cleaning up the muck? Think about that, viewers. I leave it at this. The Right Stand coming up with Poonam Burde.
Crucial leads about what aspects of the crime the accused is lying, and then they can continue to probe or delve deeper to know the truth. So for now, it looks like Sanjay Roy is definitely the center of CBI's investigation in the Kolkata rape and murder case. Was Sanjay Roy a habitual sex offender? The main accused arrested in the Kolkata doctor rape and murder case is under the scanner for alleged perverted sexual behavior. He was put through a psychological analysis by the Central Bureau of Investigation. A special team was flown in from Delhi. There were experts who subjected him to psychological analysis, and at the end of that, it seems the experts have come to conclusion that Sanjay Roy shows no remorse while recreating or narrating the scene of crime and the crime that actually happened on the midnight of 8th and 9th of August. The body was discovered on the morning of 9th of August. A post-mortem was carried out. That post-mortem report finding and the psychological analysis is turning out to be key evidence for the Central Bureau of Investigation. Of course, the scientific evidence, the foolproof evidence of whether Sanjay Roy alone was involved or not would be the DNA test. The DNA strands received from the body have been matched with Sanjay Roy. The CBI is non-committal whether it shows a 100% match, whether it shows that anybody else was present in that room. That question is open. But it looks like things are fast moving to a situation where Sanjay Roy's presence and his role in the crime is being established beyond doubt. Now, let me reveal a little more about what the experts have told the CBI after the psychological analysis. They say that A, there's no remorse, there's no sign of remorse that Sanjay Roy shows when he's asked about the crime or his involvement in it. B, the way he's talking seems to suggest a quote-unquote animal instinct. And C, that there is a sexually deviant or perverse behavior that he's showcasing. Now, Kolkata Police has